Welcome to Knit That Stash, where we pick one yarn, 3 projects, and decide which one will have a chance on the needle. I think we've been watching a lot of game shows on the game show channel lately, and this is where this idea came from. How does Knit That Stash work? Today I'm going to pick a yarn from my stash. And I'm going to go to Ravelry, find 3 projects that I can knit, and then we're going to spin the wheel, and gosh darn it, we're going to knit that yarn. We need to, because my yarn stash needs to go down in 2025. So let's introduce our first contestant. Friends, today's pick was an easy pick for me. What I now refer to as my gateway yarn, the beautiful Juniper Moon Farms Beatrix yarn. Now I have been sitting on this yarn ever since August of 2023. So it's been over a year. It's time to knit this yarn, and I have had a mystery bag from Aberdeen's Wool, my first mystery bag, in fact, and I received 3 balls of this in a $25 mystery bag, which also kind of sent me on a bit of a downward spiral into opening mystery bags, which I've now stopped. This is valued generally at least $25 a ball. So it was a score and a half, and I have just been sitting on this and not doing anything with this. This is in the color Marble. It is a bulky weight yarn, and it consists of 109 yards a ball. So I have 327 yards to play with. And yes, this does feel like a cloud. This is 54% extra fine merino wool, 30% angora, and 16% nylon. And the only rule of this game is to use up all the yarn. I guess I could make, 2 hats out of this, but no, I want to make one big item, and I want to pick a pattern that I will actually wear, which is also a big struggle for me. So let's go to Ravelry and see what we can find. Does anyone else feel like their yarn stash is getting a little out of control? I went to Ravelry and I started searching. The first thing I did, how I search on Ravelry, is I looked up the yarn itself, and then I clicked on the projects to see what other people made with it. And most of them were either a hat or a sweater, which used like 5 to 7 balls of it. I've only got 3. I want to use the whole thing. I decided then to search bulky yarn, because that is the weight of this yarn, just bulky yarn in general, and I put in the parameters of how much yardage I had. So I decided to do 300 yards to 327 yards to get in that range to see what was available. Oh, and by the way, I'm just looking for a free pattern here. We're trying to knit from our stash. We're trying to keep costs down. Something that I'm actually going to wear, because I know myself. And I know that there's a good chance that I could knit anything, but am I going to actually use it and wear it? So I've come up with 3 options for us to choose from. Well, we're not going to choose. We're going to let the Wheel of Doom decide, because all best decisions are made when you don't have to make them yourself. Oh, and if you're admiring my sweater, thank you, but no, I did not knit it, but thank you for thinking if I did. Option 1, the GAP-tastic scarf. Now this will take the right amount of yardage, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry, and guess what? I was kind of surprised that it popped up in my search, because I have knit this before years and years ago, and here is a photo of my cute little niece modeling it for me back in the day when I used to sell this at markets. So that is an option. Now I've got some long scarves like that to wrap around my head already, and I rarely wear them, but I'm open to this process. If the wheel tells me I need to knit this, I will knit this. Option number 2, Rosa's Sleeveless Cardi. I like this one. This is right up my alley. I could see myself just throwing this over a long sleeve top with a pair of tights, and even if it doesn't look the best on me, it would be a nice warm project to wear around the house. So this is definitely something I am curious about, and it's also a free pattern on Ravelry. And option number 3, the textured shawl. Again, enough yardage to make this. This would be a nice little wrap to wear when you're sitting at home knitting in front of the fire. Now, I'm not a big shawl wearer, but I really did like the look of this one, and it had the appropriate amount of yardage to use. And I thought, why not? Which one would you choose out of the 3? Please leave a comment below, but we are not leaving this up to chance. Well, I guess we are leaving it up to chance because I am not making the decision. The wheel is making it. So I have put all 3 names of the patterns in this little wheel, and we are going to spin it and find out what I'm going to be making with this yarn. Like, this really is how it went down. I just let it naturally spin, and I'm kind of glad because I was kind of thinking I'd like to make this. Now, this sleeveless Cardi is going to be on the cusp of playing Yarn Chicken. I printed it out. Now, this is right up my alley. I think this is something I would actually wear. I'm thinking there's 2 sizes. There's a small medium and a medium large. Now, I think I want to do the medium large, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough yarn. It may not fall as long as I need it to. However, I'm thinking maybe I'll go up a needle size. Maybe I'll do a 9mm instead of an 8mm and see what happens. This is all a little experimental, and that's okay because at least I'm trying the yarn. I can always rip it out. I can always rip it out and do it again. You know, I think I might just do the small medium size but go up a needle size. I think that might work. Okay, so the Rosa Sleeveless Cardi. 3 balls of Juniper Moon Beatrix yarn, the gateway yarn that got me all into buying mystery bags and then transitioned into the hand-dyed yarn addiction that I currently have. We are going to knit this up. I'm going to get this on the needles, and you know what? In a day or 2, in this episode, I will report back and let you know how it goes. So stay tuned to see what happens. It's the next day, and I've had to cast on 3 times. Firstly, I didn't have a 9mm circular needle, so I am going with the 8mm that was recommended for this pattern. I decided to cast on the medium large size, which was essentially 10 more stitches. I knit a couple of rows and I realized that it's too big, I think, for me. I pulled it all back and I went to cast on the small medium size with the 8mm circular needle. I twisted my stitches and I didn't realize it until I was on row 5. The yarn is absolutely lovely, lovely to work with. I think it's going to work out well, and I will report back when I have more to share with you. But I better check the gauge, which I never do, and it's not meeting gauge. So I'm going to need to do a larger needle because I have too many stitches. And I went over to my friend Alice's house to borrow 9mm circulars because I do not have any. Thank you, Alice. Let's start this over again. I woke up to a blizzard. They have closed the highways. So this is a sign to me that it's a good day to stay in and knit. Week number 72. Well, it's not that many, but it sure feels like it. Okay, so I have added the second ball to this. I know I'm not going to have enough yarn for the length that I would like this to fall on me. So we're just going to keep going, and we will probably find another color to add to it. Pattern said to knit the first 2 rows, but I found it was curling up. So I did a 1x1 rib instead, so it would lay flat on me. And then for the caplet sleeves, I did a stretchy bind off. Looks like it's curling a bit here as well, but we'll see if it lays flat. So let's keep going. As predicted, I have run out of yarn. Lost at Yarn Chicken, and that's okay because I have a plan. I literally, that's how much we got left. That much. I have approximately 8 rows left on the pattern, and I think the next step is to try it on and to see what it looks like. Because if it's not fitting me, why are we continuing? It fits. I do want it to hang lower or longer on me. So I'm going to add some other yarn on the end. And I'm going to start with this one, which is a bit of a darker gray. This is the Patton Shetland Chunky yarn. It is also a 5 weight. Found it in my stash. And I'm going to do dark charcoal color. So this is Oxford Gray. This is called Charcoal. They are both the same yarn. They are a 5 weight, 75% acrylic, 25% wool. And we'll see how this looks. It is, again, lovely to work on, but it sheds like I'm knitting a cat. Just sitting here knitting a cat because I am covered in this stuff. It must be the Angora. Here's a better example of the fluff coming off of this yarn. Just covered in it. Guys, I think this might actually work out. I think this is going to actually work out. Getting ahead of ourselves because we need to finish this first of all. So I'm going to cast on the second color because we've used up all the stash yarn, and keep going. Feels the same. This is obviously much softer, but you know what? Let's just do this. We're not going back now. We're not going back anymore. We're only going forward. I mean, I literally wanted to use all of the yarn, and I have. Between these yarn overs and the pattern helps with the flare at the bottom. I love A-line garments on myself. I have decided to grab a garment that I like the length of on me. Yes, I'm going to make this considerably longer. So right now, excuse the light because it is very cold here and very sunny. Right now I've got got around 16.5 inches on the body. I'm going to make this long. How can you tell I don't do garments? Oh boy, that's quite a bit. You know, maybe I'll do 3 inches of each color. When knitting isn't fun anymore. Okay, I have ripped back more times on this project than I've had hot dinners this week. I tried 3 different types of bind offs. One of them was apparently a no curl bind off, but that didn't work out. So I'm going to rip this out again. I am going to do a 1x1 rib on the last 2 rows, and then I'm going to bind off because we need to get on with our lives. We need to get on with our lives, everyone. This first and possibly last time I'm going to knit with Angora just because it literally gets everywhere. If this was a garment that I'd be wearing out, I'd have to bring my emotional support lint brush with me everywhere I go. Looking further on the pattern on Ravelry, there's been over 700 posts of it, so I would encourage you, if this is something you're interested in, to maybe deep dive into their notes a little more, because I looked at no one's notes. I just jumped in with both feet. The pattern to me is more of a recipe. It does say you can do it in different yarns, and people have. Some people did it in fingering weight, and it was just beautiful, and added sleeves to it as well. Give any direction on binding off. It just says bind off. So I don't know how they got it to lay flat with the stockinette stitch. Maybe they blocked it, put it on, and then after they took their photo, it immediately curled up on them. Now we're just doing a couple rows of ribbing, and we're going to bind off in the ribbing, and hopefully that does the trick. I knew I wasn't going to have enough yarn. The pattern said that they used 150 grams of bulky weight yarn, which is what I had, but my bulky weight yarn was 109 yards, and the yarn that was used in the pattern was 120. I don't know if it made that much more of a difference. All in all, it was a good project, even though I did tend to rip out a lot of it. It is Sunday, and technically, I started this pattern on Wednesday of this week, but then I realized that I didn't have the correct needles, and picked those up on Thursday, so that's technically the day that I started this pattern, Thursday evening. So all in all, it's not too bad. I feel if there wasn't any little hiccups that I had, I definitely could have had it done quicker. But it has motivated me to keep working from my stash, and that's the whole goal of this for me. I am now binding off again. So we're going to try it on and show you, no matter what this looks like, if I'm happy with it or not, just so you can see what the garment looks like on me with the 3 colors. I really should swatch when I'm doing a garment. I really should. So here's the ribbing again. The edge. This is what the edge is going to look like. I'm just going to keep going, and next time you see me, I'll be wearing this. We knit from our stash. I have not weaved in any of the ends, but here it is. Let's see what it looks like on me. We'll go down here. So the end part is much better. It does have a nice flare. It's loose. This is the small medium size, casting on 74 stitches. What more can you ask for? It is very warm, this yarn. The only downside is the shedding. I'm glad I made it longer. Who knows, I might even wear this out, but it's going to be a comfy, cozy knit for around the house. What do you think? Be honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. It was an experiment, but I knit from my stash, so I feel like I should win a major award. I'd love your feedback below if you want me to keep challenging myself by pulling yarn and finding patterns and just going for it and seeing all of the mistakes I make along the way. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this result. Thank you so much for watching me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.